Okay, I've moved on to my next page, which is my furniture and finishes page. And I already put in some uh, uh, frames here, just like I did for the previous page. I added some frames and filled them in by going to place, file, place, and then choosing the location and inserting them. And what I want to do, I think first thing I'll do here is I'll change this placeholder text. So I'll hit, again, Shift, Control, and double click. And I'm going to call this Furniture and Finishes. Yeah, okay. Now, if you remember, I can take a view of this entire page that doesn't include the borders and all of the frames, etc. So I have a clean view of what my client is going to see. And I can do that by holding Shift and W, hitting Shift W, and I get a full screen with just the imagery on here. And I think it looks okay. I think what would be nice though is maybe if there was a box around each of these images so that, it sort of completed this rectangle here. And maybe I can identify what each of these chairs are, or I could identify the upholstery here. So I'm going to hit escape to get back to my working page here. And with my selection tool, I'm just going to select one of the frames, this first frame here. And I'm going to go up, and there are two options here. There's a stroke option, which is to draw a line, just like we did when we drew this line here. That's called a stroke. And then there is a fill, to fill the inside of that frame. Let me show you. If I click fill and I pick a color, it has filled that image with that color. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to undo that by hitting Control Z. But I'm going to select it, and I'm going to choose the frame, the stroke, and I'm going to change that stroke to black. And I want it to be really small, and it's already set to 1 point, and I think that that's going to be fine. Let me just do that with this one too. Just add black as the stroke. Right now the stroke is set to none, and what I want to do is I want to set it to black. Now if I hit Shift W, it has those squares there, and I think that's okay. That'll be all right. I think that this chair, though, I like that the chairs are proportionally sized, and you kind of want to do that. But I think that this chair is really squeezing this frame. It looks a little crowded there. So I'm going to hit Escape to get back to my working image here, and I'm going to double click on this chair image, and I've got the brown frame, which indicates the size of the actual image. And I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to grab a grip, left click and hold, and I can change the size of this. Now I don't want to play with the proportions, right? So if I hold Shift, it keeps the proportion for me exactly correct. And I'm just going to reduce it just a little bit so it just fits within that frame a little bit. And I think that this one's a little big too, so I'm just going to grab a grip, hold Shift, bring it down, move it so it's centered. I think that that's an improvement. Now I think I'm going to add some text here. So I'll just go over to my type tool, my text tool, and I'm just going to draw a little text box. And I want to be consistent with my fonts that I'm using. And I know that I'm using Times New Roman, so I'll do that, Times New Roman Italic. And I'll call this reading chair. this reading chair, that's a little small, so let's go to 6, make it a little bit bigger, maybe 18. Yeah, that's okay. And then with my selection tool, I'll select it, and I like to adjust using my arrow keys. It gives me a lot of control, and I just happen to like doing that. Okay, and then I think rather than create another text box here, I'll just copy this one, right click, copy, and then I'll just over here right click, paste. And it came in over here, that's fine. I'll just move it so that they align, and I'll just call this lounge chair. That way, when I'm talking to my client and we're talking about different chairs, there's no confusion. We both know which is the reading chair and which is the lounge chair. So let me again go to Shift W to view the page. And yeah, I think that looks good. By the way, while I'm in here, I hit the page up, I can see the other pages in my presentation.